All right, let's talk about BIM, Building Information Modeling. It's a term you hear everywhere in construction, but what does it actually mean? Today, we're going to cut through all the hype, deconstruct what it is, what it isn't, and really get to the heart of why it's such a massive shift for the entire industry. Let's dive in.
This quote from Peter Drucker just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the problem that BIM is trying to solve. For, decades, the construction world has been trying to get faster and more efficient at processes that are, frankly, broken. BIM isn't about doing those old things faster. It's about finding a completely new and way better way of working from the ground up.
So what's so broken? Well, it's what we call the digital disconnect. Think about it. You've got all these different teams, architects, engineers, contractors, all working in their own little bubbles. They're all staring at these static 2D plans, which are really just fancy digital versions of paper blueprints. And let's be real, the industry hasn't exactly been quick to jump on new tech. And what's the result? A total mess. You get information that's copied and pasted all over the place. Or even worse, you have documents that completely contradict each other.
And all this confusion leads to what our source material perfectly describes as the BIM elephant. You know that old story, right? Where a bunch of people in a dark room are all touching a different part of an elephant? Well, that's BIM in a nutshell for a lot of folks. The architect thinks it's a 3D modeling tool. The contractor just sees it as a way to check for clashes. The building owner thinks it's just for managing the facility later on. See the problem? Everyone's only touching one part of the animal, so nobody sees the whole picture. And that's exactly why so many promises about BIM just fall flat.
Okay, so let's turn on the lights and actually look at the whole elephant. It's time to get past this idea that BIM is just a pretty 3D model. It's so much more. First things first, we've got to bust the biggest myth out there, the single model myth. This idea that everyone on a project is all working together in real time on one gigantic central model, well, it's just not true. For any project of realistic size or complexity, it's just not practical. You've got different teams using totally different software, and the tech itself would just grind to a halt trying to manage all that data in one spot.
So if it's not one single model, then what is it? Here's the key. You have to think of BIM as a process. It's like a digital backbone for the entire project. It's not here to replace designers or builders, it's here to support them. It creates this network of smart models and databases where all the project data is structured, where it can be read by computers, and where it can be shared openly between all the different teams.
And this is where you can really see the massive difference. We're moving away from what you could call flat CAD, which is basically just drawing lines on a screen, into this new world of dynamic shared knowledge. So in a BIM model, a wall isn't just two lines. No way. It's an intelligent object. That wall knows what it's made of, it knows its fire rating, it knows how much it costs. This is what turns a messy pile of inconsistent documents into a single, integrated source of truth.
But it doesn't stop there. This is where it gets really, really powerful. Because once you have this intelligent 3D model as your foundation, you can start layering on other dimensions of data, starting with the fourth and fifth dimensions, time and cost.
So, welcome to 4D BIM. What we're doing here is linking the project schedule, the timeline, directly to the objects in the 3D model. This lets you run a simulation of the entire construction process from start to finish. I mean, you can literally watch the building come together over time on your screen. This is incredible for planning workflows, and this is the big one. You can spot potential delays or problems in the schedule before a single worker ever steps on site. And then we add the fifth dimension, cost. 5D BIM is an absolute game changer for managing the project's budget. It links cost data directly to the model. So instead of having a cost estimator spend weeks manually counting every single nut and bolt, the quantities are just pulled automatically. You can constantly check your big picture budget against a super detailed estimate as the design changes. And if the architect decides to change a window type, boom, you see the cost impact instantly.
Okay, so we can all agree BIM is incredibly powerful. But that brings up the big question. How does a company actually start using it without, getting totally lost? Well, the secret isn't about buying new tech. It's about having the right strategy.
And this right here is probably the most important thing for any company to understand. You can't just buy a bunch of expensive software, hand it to your team, and expect miracles to happen. It won't work. Adopting BIM is a full-on business transformation. Real success comes from a smart, strategic plan that thinks about your processes, your people, and your long-term goals.
The Synergy Matrix is a fantastic roadmap for that planning. It breaks everything down into 4 key areas. You've got policy, that's your why. You've got process, that's your how. You've got people, your who. And finally, technology, the what. And you've got to address all of these things at every single level of the company, from the big picture strategic vision in the boardroom all the way down to the day-to-day work on a project.
And remember, adopting BIM isn't some one-time thing. It's a cycle. It's iterative. You start with a clear vision. Then, you test that vision on a small, manageable pilot project. You take everything you learn, the good and the bad, and use that to build your company's official BIM guidelines. Then you roll those out on new projects, and you just keep that learning cycle going, getting better and better over time.
Now, I really can't stress this enough. Pilot projects are absolutely critical. The very last thing you want is for your team to be trying to figure out a whole new way of working while they're under the crushing pressure of a real project deadline. A pilot project is like a safe sandbox. It's a space where you can try things out, make mistakes, figure out what actually works for your company, and build some real confidence before the stakes get high.
So, when you put it all together, the right strategy, combined with this incredibly powerful process, where does it all lead? Well, it leads to a future for construction that is completely data-driven.
Ultimately, the true power of BIM isn't in the 3D geometry. It's in the I, the information. It's about transforming all those scattered, static documents into a single, rich, intelligent data asset. And that asset is what allows you to make smarter, faster, and just flat-out better decisions across the entire life of a building.
I love this analogy from the source material. Think about it like this. Traditional construction documents, they're like an old paper bank statement you get in the mail. It's a static record of what happened in the past. It's fine, but it's limited. BIM, on the other hand, is like your modern banking app on your phone. It's live, it's interactive, you can analyze it, you can see not just what happened last month, but what's happening right now and what could happen next week.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. We live in a world where pretty much everything is digital. Our money, our communication, our entertainment, it's all powered by instant data. So the question is, why should the most complex and expensive things we ever create, our buildings, still be managed with technology that feels like it's from the last century? That's the question BIM is forcing us all to answer. Thanks for joining me.